GameWarp 2013 with Todd Rogers, who, if I remember correctly, you had the Guinness Book World Records for the longest time having the longest record, or is that?
Yeah, I still do. I held the record on a game called Dragster.
That's what I was wondering. What was the game?
I had the initial record set in December 1st, 1980, and subsequently beat it a few times to get the 551 that I've had since September 1st of '82.
Now, for those people who are not really have not experienced the game, can you tell us a little bit about Dragster?
Well, the whole objective in the game is to shift your Dragster 1 through 4th gears as fast as you can. The Dragster is as fast as you can down the quarter mile. Not popping your joystick as fast as you can, but in a sense, making it go in the fastest amount of time.
Yep.
And so in 1982, Activision programmed a perfect run on their Dragster computer. And I want to know how I got a 551 because their computer got a 554.
Right.
So I had to explain why. Engage the clutch, give it some fuel, pop it a few times in the clutch, and I'm off. And the computer didn't do that. So I'm the only person on the planet to beat.
So you said, essentially you beat the computer.
And I've held the record for 30 some odd years.
Yeah, which is awesome.
I still hold the record.
What initially got you into the whole arcade mentality? What got you into arcade games?
Well, I was playing there was an arcade location called Haunted Trails that was in Burbank, Illinois, or still is in Burbank, Illinois. And as I was a child growing up, my parents would bring me there just to, incorporate myself in playing video games in the 70s,
Yeah.
And then when, like you said, with the Atari coming out, I had consoles in Pong in 72, the Odyssey system in 76, so I was no stranger to video gaming. But when they went to the arcade, the graphics were much better, but you had to pay money. Unlike the house where you can play as long as you want for free. I mean, you had to buy the system, don't get me wrong, but you can play as long as you wanted to. But in the arcade, you had to put your quarter in and try to last as long as you could. Something like GORF, I would play and last for 6 hours. Gyrus, I'd last for 40 hours. So you had to think to yourself what game that you could play to maximize that token or quarter you were using. Because in the arcade, they were only open X amount of hours, and they wanted you to, bang it out to make them more money. Play a game like Pac-Man or Robotron, and if you didn't know the maze or didn't know the sequence of Robotron, your game wouldn't last more than 5 minutes.
Now, a game like GORF, that's kind of another one of those ones where it's similar to Space Invaders.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's 5 different stages of GORF.
Right.
And the developer of the game wanted to have something very interesting. They didn't want to just have one game. They wanted to have several games packed into one. So when I saw GORF, I says, hey, when I was younger, I could sit there with the arm and sort of hit the stick and reflect it. And which was really cool because back years ago, people come up with their date and slap down a token on the game, and they had no idea they were going to sit around and wait a while because I'd be playing, trying to get my money.
How often does that happen to you where someone puts a quarter down?
Well, it did. It happened all the time.
They stand there for like an hour.
If they know you now and they see you, like, oh yeah, well, come back at the end of the day, maybe, Years ago, they had no idea, but once I started making a name for myself, when I did start entering contests, people like KB Toys, Toys R Us would get an idea of who I was, and they'd say, well, hey, how about if we give you like a nominal prize so you don't enter the contest? So I'm like, well, hey, what's this? I want to win the big prize.
Yeah, the big prize.
I don't win $100 like winning 500.
For sure. A game like GORF is cool too because it didn't have like audio.
Yeah, absolutely.
It talks to you,
Exactly.
Which is not something that you really saw in arcade games up to that point in time.
If you die or you collision with another ship, it'll go ha ha ha.
So other than obviously GORF, when we talk about Dragster, what are some of your other favorite classic arcade games?
Robotron, hands down. The game is really complex, but it's simple enough anybody can play it. And no 2 games are the same. So you get this one here that controls your fire, and then this one that controls your direction. Then it goes to the next screen, sort of like you're doing a trigger. And again, there's multiple things on the screen that when you're shooting that you don't want to bump into because again you'll die. You want to save the humanoids, as many humanoids as possible to get your points built up. See, if you run into the little grunts, they kill you. These little triangular things shoot out from a distance. These little X's. You can't kill the Hulks. You can just shoot them back.
Right.
But that's it. I mean, that's basically the whole game is you're going to have to survive and get a pattern that works for you without dying.
This is not a game for the faint of heart.
Oh, it's an enjoyable game. Like I said, most games don't last past 5 minutes. And no game is the same. I mean, you play the game and you think you're looking up here and you're moving your guy down here and you bump into something. Oh, you just lost the guy, you know?
Any other things you can tell us about GameWarp that you're excited to be here? You know,
Man, more people should come down and play the games and see how well they are against the people that are celebritized.
especially if you're a modern gamer. See how well you fare in some of these
That's
older
right.
games.
People say, oh, the graphics weren't that great, but they had to make games years ago hard enough to people like ourselves to make your money last or make some kind of difficulty. Now everybody relies upon graphics to lure you in, but the gameplay is not
It
there.
required a lot of skill back in the day. I mean, you had a lot of skill and a lot of money.
Robotron, play Robotron.
Robotron. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.